how various streaming platforms are gonna play ball, or if they're gonna be difficult. Alright, so Restream obviously claims everything is fine, which is usually there first. Not yet, not yet, not yet. Alright, we already have 3 viewers on YouTube, which, okay. Alright, that seems to work. Twitch, I don't see anything. Hey, Twitch. Twitch says offline. Nope, now Twitch changed its mind. Okay. I think we're in Code Hangers 146. Alright, we're going back to the account system. Well, back. I mean, we barely started. I put together a little bit of a timeline. And I think the stages are basically going to be what we're working on right now, like an authentication prototype. Then we'll do a minimum viable product for account, sort of like, hey, what are the minimum features? Then we're going to do a waitlist sign up. So this is basically public. This is where I really need to pin down the features that are going to go into the closed beta, right? And then we'll basically do a closed alpha, sorry, shortly after. Might be a bit short timeline, we'll see. Hey, Mark, how are you doing? So today, there's one of two things I'm going to try out. I might have a quick look at auth.js just to see if, without using Kinde, because I've done like, you know, using the basic providers without like a third-party tool, and it wasn't, you know, like I remember I used to use Passport.js like more than 10 years ago and stuff, and it wasn't that difficult. So maybe I'll have a quick run through with auth.js and see how that looks, just to kind of keep myself grounded and have a point of comparison. So we might have to install some stuff, and let's have a look. So, we don't want to click on any of these files by mistake, right? So we have all of this stuff. What else do we have? All right, we don't really care about all of that stuff. Let me see. Oh no, now people are starting messaging me. I have some friends visiting from the UK and Australia. Too good to be true. What's your local knowledge? Oh, I'm live streaming. Yeah, so we don't want the hosted alternative. So let's have a quick look at the get started. Next auth. Will continue to release under the next auth package name instead of the auth convention. Auth.js is born out of next auth. This will have to be a framework agnostic. Okay. Alright. So if we look at, I don't know if I want a live example. I know what these things look like and how they work and stuff. Authentications, support databases, Firebase. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's MongoDB in here somewhere. There we go. All right. So what is auth.js? Yada, yada, yada. How do we use it? All right. So if we go straight into here, you can standardize this example to Vercel by clicking the following. No, that's an example. Okay. I don't want the example. I want the getting started thing that I clicked on. Now is next, yeah, okay, so here I have to make sure I show, okay, so we'll do it via Express. Now, if I don't want to integrate it directly, because Next.js is really just, that's a front-end tool, isn't it? Next, I mean, it's like React. Because I don't know if I want all that root integration, right? If I want to create a microservice. Because then it gets a bit tricky to route through things through from like the actual server, from the browser to the server and all this stuff. That's the other thing I need to try and look into is how do we do authentication without like proxying and passing through, but just like, can we do it just via the cookie? Is that all we need, right? And I think we do. We'll poke at that as well. We have time. All right, let's install this and see how it goes. I think we'll probably save it as well while we're here. You can always remove it, right? And then the only environment that's mandatory is the auth secret. This is random value used by the library to encrypt tokens and email verification hashes. npx auth secret. You can change one while running npx auth secret. Now, npx auth, is that something we need to have installed? Deployment to learn more. Okay. We recommend prefixing all auth environment variables with auth underscore. That way we can better auth detect them. They can be also used to distinguish from other environment variables more easily. Okay. I'm not sure if more easily is helpful. Like, it's either knows what it's looking for, it doesn't. And auto detecting them. Yeah, I might have to do my shenanigans of having another window here that's opened into this, because I need to look at the environment variables and the secrets and stuff. Yeah, so this is prefixed with kinde. Okay, fair enough. Alternates should be available. All this npm exec auth secret. Okay. Do we need that right now, or can we just do something like this? It's still deploying. It's still installing. That seems surprisingly slow. Does that mean we're having some problems? Don't know how big this thing is. I mean, Node.js, you know, things can get out of hand really fast. Speaking of Node.js, I probably, yeah, I wanna git ignore and all that stuff. Let's bring it in from SudokuPad. I think that should be fine. I mean, right now we're oh, okay. Do we already, oh my god, we already need to restart our little WSL here. I don't know, it suddenly started doing that a lot. And I have to kind of reboot it, which is very annoying. Doesn't take long, but why? All right. I'm just gonna keep that running just to make sure it doesn't interfere, and you know, the whole microservices concept is gonna keep going. How's your day, Mark? How are you doing so far? Okay, so we've installed this thing. So now we should be able to call this npx auth secret. Is that just a wrapper for like basic cryptographic functions? Okay. I wish it would tell me more about it instead of just execute this command. Alright. So if I take this, and this obviously will change, so I can actually expose this without fear. And if I stick this in here, and I look into our yeah, and then basically auth server would be like one version each. Like we'll have a common interface, and then one version, we'll make a version for each of the third-party libraries, and we could even have them completely independently and running different ones on different servers if we ever need to. But can I'm gonna test that. I think I'm gonna actually, yeah, I'm just gonna do a separate one. I'll say save this as auth. Let's just call it auth server 2 for now, right? And we'll basically do this and something like that, right? And config, where does the config came from? Express config. Config. Client initial config. Where did I set up the config here? Ah, here we go. So if we just look at that here, secret, we'll just do that, right? Nope, that's not. Mm. I don't think I actually need to change that, right? I don't think that makes a difference. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna just leave that. What we want to do is node src/auth server 2. All right, so it gets access to that. No worries. All right. The environment, configure, basic stuff. Now, do we want to switch to the import syntax? Was there a reason I wasn't doing that before? I think, oh my god, I think there was a reason, and it wasn't compatible with something. Ugh. Do we want to go this way or that way? I'm not sure. Like if I'd run it this way, right? Yeah, it'll do this, and then the other thing breaks, and then I switched over on the other one. But ultimately, we probably want to run in module mode, and I've done that in a couple of places. And I don't know what the issue was with Kinde, especially since Kinde was supposedly all module mode stuff, right? Let me see, Sudoku data. I was just looking at that earlier. Not that package. So we want to do this. Maybe. We'll find out in a sec. All right. So now how do we import the config stuff? Node.env config module. Yeah. Package.env. You can find details, blah, blah, blah. How to use it. Do not forget to include as thought of project files in the .env, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but that's... What if I do something like... I do import.env from .env, and I just output that. What do I get? All right, so we really could just do config from .env and then just execute that as a function, huh? If I execute that, it just gets all the environment variables. All right, and now they're on the screen. That's great. Thanks for that. No. src/auth server 2. So let's not do that. All right, that should work. Then we should be able to do that. And yeah, I don't think exposing that is actually a problem because for any kind of deploy, it'll get changed anyways. No, I doubt that I'll be using Kinde anyways. All right. So, let's get started. Let's do init, init express app equals. Then we kind of do this. All right. And then we want to set up Express, and then we want to do some of this stuff. Express auth. All right. Const init auth. Right. And then it'll basically be these things. Trust the proxy. I'm not sure what that means, to be honest. Trust the proxy to allow HTTPS protocol to be detected. if app is served to a proxy. Yeah, fair enough. That's basically what I'm gonna do. All right. Now here we have no configuration setup, nothing. Okay. Await and auth. App. Like that. If I run this again, requires middleware function. And how does that compare to our existing auth server? This is a little big. I'm gonna have to make this a little smaller just so I can see it. Do this. So we're doing app init express, and then init express just does this, and then app init routes and init kinder, init routes, app.get, and then here it says what? App.use requires a middleware function. Whoops, where did that come from? App.use requires a middleware function. That's weird. Yeah, trust proxy, that's a weird thing. App.use trust proxy true. Oh yeah, this is weird. I think this might be an old syntax, which already makes me a little nervous that they're using out-of-date syntax. Not sure how I feel about that. Yeah. All right. Let's do this, because maybe in the future we can have a singular method here. So, yeah. All right. Init express. And we can just do port 3003. All right. And then we'll do the listen here. I think we can do listen earlier. I think the listen and the routes can be out of sync here. Ops dot, like, we'll do something like this. Ops dot handle listen. Right. And then we can do const x ops express equals. So this will be port 3003, and we'll do our handle listen, which is just going to be this. That. And then we'll pass that in here. Okay. What does this correspond to in here? If I make it a function, can I then do this? Object.keys. I think this would reference the function, not the parent object of the function. Or it references the app, which might get as access to the port, or maybe in the configuration, right? Handle using workers unref, timeout, keep alive, no delay, connection key. Max request per socket required. Alright, not gonna do that. We'll just do this. I mean, I'm tempted to just pass the options in there from there, but yeah. Down the rabbit hole I go already. Alright, so we're listening on port 303. And then we gotta set up some authentication providers. Alright, where does AuthJS know primary authentication for your application? Significant amount of money, time, and engineering efforts to build, use detection, yada yada. Okay. Is that paid? AuthJS by saves the session a cookie using encrypted JSON web token so that you don't need to store. So, however, if you want to persist use data, yeah. Alright. Once you've decided how to authenticate users in your application, click on your authentication method of choice under authentication in the sidebar to continue. So if we use OAuth and we'll say we'll use Google, right? Then we'll do what? Okay, so first you have to set up an OAuth application in the Google device. Okay, so this is the stuff where we have to figure it out ourselves. If I haven't written beginner step-by-step guide how to set up sign in with GitHub. Maybe we'll do GitHub as a test case. And then we can say, hey, we can, you know, we've got that one working. Let's try, yeah, because I think GitHub might be easier and quicker to set up and more friendly. Compared to Google, where you have to like create an application, all this stuff. Right. Installing auth.js. No, OAuth with GitHub. Yeah, so we've got all that. So we gotta set this stuff up. Alright. Alright, I might have to do this off screen. SudokuPad. Cool. So the homepage URL will be localhost, I guess. But we'll have to see about the redirects and something and all that stuff. Now the problem is, like, do they allow localhost callback URLs? That's the thing, right? But if I do HTTP localhost 303 or 3000, because we want to route it. Well, we'll just test it for now, and we'll just do it callback. OAuth callback. How about that? Device flow. Well, let's see if it even lets me use a non-HTTPS domain and all that stuff. And let's hope that I can change it in the future. Okay, so that gets us a bunch of stuff, such as... okay, so the default callback here should be generally take the form origin, however, the default is slightly different depending on which framework you're using. Local production. The thing is, they put 2 in, but obviously I can't give them 2. Once you've entered the required fields. So that's the other problem, is they're trying to, you know, dumb it down for me and hook straight into the routes, which makes the proxying and stuff a bit tricky. Alright, let's try to add these things to the dev stuff without screwing myself. Auth, let's see, auth GitHub ID equals. I think that's what they want us to do. Is that what they wanted to do? GitHub ID, GitHub secret. Not too secret if I kind of stick it out there, right? Fine. Boom. Can I have a client secret? Please. Thank you. Alright. I think that's all I gotta do. Let us close this for now, because I think this is showing all sorts of stuff. Let us save this for now. And then we can go back to here. And how are we gonna set that up? We can do a provider GitHub. Like that. Do I need to install these, or are these just gonna be available? Let's see. My god, that penetration. Hurts me. Okay. If I do ops express, and you know what? I'm gonna do options, and then we'll do express, and we'll put these in there, and then we'll do auth.js, and then other stuff goes in here, and then this will be ops.express, this will be ops.auth.js. And then here, it's gonna be, this stuff is gonna go here. And then this goes there. And then this one will have the GitHub provider. How I configure it and tell it what the stuff is, I don't know. Express not documented yet. Great. 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 Don't know how any of that'll work. Wait, so Swelter Kit, what does it want me to do? Export handle from /auth. And then Express is just not documented. Okay. So if I execute this, does anything interesting happen? Ops express not ops.express.port. Okay. If I go there, localhost 303 cannot get oh yeah, so now we gonna get the person to the thing. All right, and how do they say that should work? Add a sign-in button. Local auth. On-click sign-in. Sign-in from auth Swelter client. Yeah. So now I have to look up what they actually do because they didn't bother documenting the Express one. Yay, that's great. All right. Auth TS. Do I have to install the other ones separately? Swelter kit. So I'd have to install them. Or I find out how the sign-in is captured in here. Ugh. And it's indented with 4 spaces. Who does this? Who does this? Who writes code like that? Oh my. Oh, these kids. Alright. Alright. Basically what I want to do is I need to open this. Right. So I want to open this, and now I have to basically search. Oh, and it won't let me search anything in here. Oh, that's a huge pain in the ass. Really? Because I'm filtering out node modules, but we're inside. Are you kidding me? Because we're inside node modules, even though there's no modules, holy moly, no node modules underneath us. You're still filtering out every file. Like, I can't look at the source. Like, it doesn't show me what's... It shows me what's inside lib, but it doesn't show me... It'll show me one folder at a time. This doesn't make any freaking sense. So Express. I want to see this stuff, right? But it's not showing me the subfolders. Because I just want to search. I just want to be able to search. Do I have to actually download this from GitHub? Just so I can search. Are you kidding me? All right. Well, I guess I'll have to do that. It's ridiculous. No documented guides, API references, but you know. I don't want it, like, can I have it just raw? Maybe core is what I want. Maybe, you know, just write it myself. Ooh, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. So this is the main experimental course is under experimental. What do you mean experimental? You'd think that's the core. How can that be experimental? Okay, I'm starting to wonder if I'm wasting my time here. Should I just proceed with what I have with Kinder? Yeah, I think I'll do that. Yeah, I'm sure I can get this to work, but it's gonna take me some fiddling, and it's not gonna add anything to the experience. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna exit all this, make sure that what we set up the other day works, and then we continue working from there. I think I didn't write any notes here. Nope. Let's close that. So let us go back to here and close that. All right, now we have, do we have these? All right. So we'll just do npm run auth. It's not, oh, yeah. And now, do I want to try to translate this? Maybe. Let's try to translate this to module syntax. God knows why. So instead of these couple of lines, we'll have a new set of lines. Because why? Because screw us. That's why. Import express from. Right. And we'll do import these from. Right. And then finally, don't know why that's in more than one line. We'll do import these from that. And okay. Grant type is not found. The requested model is a common JS model, which may not support all module exports as named exports. Default exports, for example, using import. Okay. So import Kinder Node Express. Okay, so we'll do something like import Kinder Node Express. If I do this, then say console.log, what do we get? We'll probably get the same problem, right? Same thing. We'll do, what's it called? In the node auth utils. In the node auth utils. All right. Cannot use import statement outside. But the problem is this is now inside their stuff, and it kind of chains up. So they're using and that's what I don't understand. They're using import, which only possible with modules, but they're not modules, so they can't use. I don't understand what's going on here. Uncut syntax cannot import statement outside a module when importing using 6. Yada yada yada. Update for Node.js type module. When using module, you get a reference required is not defined. You'll need to use the import syntax instead of require. Yes, I'm not using require. Maybe it's because I have the global type thingamajig here. So what if we change this rename to MJS, and we'll run this as MJS. I've been avoiding using MJS extensions, but maybe that's just what I need to do. No, doesn't make a difference. Cannot use import statement outside a module. This is so annoying. Like, it's kind of mixing and matching and kind of the opposite direction. Like, I'm running things at modules. It's using import, which is only possible modules, but it's somehow not. You added this and fixed it. Was having an issue when trying to run the mock TTP. Cannot use import statement as module. If we're looking at Kinde. No, I did not mean that. My God, Google really doesn't like searching for the things we're asking people to search for. If you use Babel, you have some. Yeah, no, I don't want to use Babel. I don't want to use Babel. No, I don't want to use Babel. Oh my God. Oh my God. So this is why I switched back to CommonJS. But this file is not a CommonJS file, right? So if I go down to here and look at this file, Kinde OSS, Kinde Node Express, and they want to charge thousands of dollars for this stuff, and then their stuff doesn't work, and they make it, oh, it's so clever and complex and so many files, and then it's just broken, right? Like, this is clearly a module, right? Why does it say it's not a module? It's not outside a module, it's inside a module. Now, what I'm expecting to see is that here, even here, it's specifying this is a module. To load an ES module, set type to module in the package JSON. But it is set to change. Node ignores nested package JSON in node modules. Node module. Node modules. Cannot use import statement. Oh, can use import. Well, what the hell? Yeah, but I don't want to rename things down the thing, especially. What version of Node am I running? 20 point whatever, right? That should be perfectly fine. So if we go back to type modules in here. So if we do type module, right? So in theory, everything is type module. Now here it claims it's outside of module. Okay, let's check this. So this is type module types. Is this an older version of the syntax? All right, 1 second. This is driving me crazy now, and I'm gonna close the GitHub auth stuff. So if we go to GitHub, Kinde Node Express, right? Kinde Node Express. Has somebody else raised this issue? Is anybody looking at this thing? Is anybody using it? So if I look at package.json here, types, it doesn't say type module. Package.json module. Like, nobody knows this stuff. Nobody's documenting. Nobody's writing things down. There's like, okay, use MJS extension. Okay, but like, I'm not going to rewrite who knows how many thousands of third-party modules, right? So this stuff works for somebody out there. Is it old? Is it new? Is it changed? Is it, you know? The package type defines how Node should import JS files. Does not have a yeah. So they don't have a type in there, but it's obviously a module. A package has a type value of module. Okay. Now, a package JSON value called module main exports package JSON. Is there such a thing as a package JSON documentation about what it does? Main module type exports imports. What version of documentation for Node.js is this? This is fairly recent, right? So either this is from an older version and it's just not available on this version. So let's say if we go down back to 18, main type of exports imports type, no module. Go down to 14, main exports imports main, nope. 16. So is that a thing that exists, or is this a thing that doesn't exist? Because they've got it in here, right? So if I look at the history, when was this line added? No, I don't want history after all. I want Blaine. Creating common JS and ESM builds with TSC. So you have a main and a module. But they're not actually telling it one thing or another. So is this because I'm not using TypeScript? Package.json main module. And the fact that I can search for the specific thing. I was going to say, Google doesn't give me a response. Well, it says something. Yeah. Now, this is not in the Node documentation, so what the hell? It's not officially defined by Node.js and support. It's not planned. Instead, the Node.js community settled on package exports, which are believed to be more versatile. For practical reasons, JavaScript bundles will continue to support the module field, and ES build docs explain when to use module as well as related fields. Original answer. So, is this just broken? Is this just designed to not work? What the hell? And there's no issues. Like, how is this working for anybody? That's what I want to know. Can I see non-open issues? Remove console log messages, upgrade express. I feel like nobody's using this somehow. Bug, not search the repository issues, come to ensure my issues not duplicate. I've checked, blah, blah, yeah. This SDK has been migrated to TypeScript now, with the required types being shipped along with the types, with the package. So this should be resolved now. What's the problem? I can't reproduce by simply creating any Node project and has a TypeScript installed as a library and a TypeScript. So does this only work with TypeScript now? Is that what they're trying to say? The library is not compatible with TypeScript, nor does it include the type versions files. As soon as the library is imported, the following occurs. You could not find the collector file. Implicit has any blah, blah, blah. Okay, TypeScript, don't care. Don't care even slightly. Update. Explain your changes. Suppose this is a related issue, but high enough to blah, blah, blah. I've read yada, yada. Okay. This is the example of the commit message. This is not a commit message. Seriously? Are you kidding me? Okay, they just version bumped it. But this is still very, very, very shoddy. So this is obviously an early version that's not using module syntax. This is just really badly done. Are they just... Oh, it's like, oh, everybody uses Next.js React 27,30,000 now. But like, your stuff, if you want me to pay you money, this stuff needs to fucking work. The whole point of using this is for me to save time, right? I might as well go back to Auth.js if I'm running into these little bullshit issues over and over. So do I now have to modify their code? Do I have to say type module? Is that it? I mean, I can just write that, right? But then obviously it'll chain, right? Because otherwise it wouldn't have worked for anybody. Error unsupported directory import. What the frick? Error unsupported dir import. Directory import. hell does that even mean? That's a new one. I don't even know what, I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know what's going wrong. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm supposed to care about this. Okay, last try. And then I might just go back to doing it from scratch myself, because this is bullshit. Can I do... Can I do... Are there some samples that I can just look at? Like sample code that uses their stuff. So if I look at Node.js, forget Express for a sec, right? Sign is out. The login, you'll have to create routes for login. Routes. You're assuming a web server. What if I don't have a web server? You know what I mean? Fine. Let's try the raw Node.js SDK. Sure, why not? Let's throw another one on the pile, right? Let's burn them all. And we'll call it auth server whatever, right? We'll make a third one. We'll save this as auth server 3, right? And it's gonna be basically right, it's gonna be mostly this, like that. What does it tell us to include? Okay, we have our dot end. So here now they're switching back to CommonJS. Like, make up your fucking mind. So let's just do this in the Node.js SDK. Let's actually literally just erase all of this. Am I in the right one? I don't want to delete the other one, right? Right. And then we'll output that. Don't need that. Don't need that. And then we'll do node src auth server 3.js. Okay, so it outputs the stuff. Okay, so the stuff at least exists when I do that, right? Okay. All right. All right. Can decline. So init auth in the node. Right? In the node. And we'll create the auth kinde room. Let's just whatever, right? Kinde. I think it might be the same stuff, right? So we might be able to just grab that from two auth server in Kinde. We'll probably can do that here. I think that's the same, right? So we let's make sure we have grant type pkce. Move that to the bottom for some reason. We'll have don't have a domain, so we'll have a domain. Domain can decline ID, can decline secret. We can do a in the domain equals, no, don't know what the domain is. Okay, so the Kinde domain is actually the Kinde issuer URL, All right. So they've just changed, like this stuff like this, right? If I own the company and they would call the same thing, different things in different examples and use some, you know, I was like, hey, what the fuck are you doing, you know? So this is done by, you know, interns or whatever, and who don't give a damn about their work. All right, Kinder redirect URL. Issue base URL. Site URL. Kinder issuer URL. Like, it's not asking for these at the moment, so... It's not even asking for secret here. Oh, no, it's calling a client. So they're actually labeled different things as well. Holy crap, who did this? This is ridiculous. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Don't get a job and then do this kind of work, please. Save us all some Kinder logout redirect. Kinder post logout redirect. It's called Kinder post logout redirect in the other example. But I actually like that better, so I'm going to change it here, and then the other one is going to be broken. Great. Alright, apparently we don't need any of the other stuff, right? Kinder node SDK. And it's probably more or less the same code, but that's the thing, right? They write all this boilerplate code, and then they don't generate it. And then it's all slightly different, and it's all has its own bugs. And then people wonder why more code isn't making their product better. It's freaking ridiculous. And probably the guy, you know, the business guys don't understand this. So their junior devs just write more code, and they say, oh, look how much code I wrote. I'm so good. You know? Oh, man. I feel bad for the guys running this stuff. Because they don't freaking know anything, right? They don't get it. So we'll do Kinder client. Like that. Init, that. Please provide domain. Please provide domain. We are providing the domain, exactly as you told us to. But their code is probably not correct. Because we've seen that they have absolutely no consistency, right? So we have Node.js SDK. So now let's see where this error comes from. Kinder client 69. Nice. Please provide domain. All right, where does it pull the domain? So here it says domain. Here it says domain. Here it says domain. Wait, what? And here it says Kinder issuer URL, which is supposed to look like this. So it's, first of all, this isn't a domain. This is a URL. Second of all, I'm passing it in there. So if I say ops.domain, right? It's undefined. Oh dear, what's going on? Oh, I did not execute config, did I? Redirect URI. In the redirect URI. So they changed it from URI to URL. Like, really? So in this piece of doc, they use URI, and then if I go to Express.js and I look at these, here they're not even using the same .env. Really? Really? That's like completely different? Because that's not what I looked at, because obviously I copied it from here last time. Maybe this, no, not graph. Sure. Anyway, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. Like, pick one, right? I don't even care which one. URI is technically correct. So let's change them all to URIs. Yeah, why not? Fun times. The issuer URI. There we go. There we go. Yeah, this... You're not even writing documentations. You're making basic examples. You're not checking that your examples don't work. You're not building them in high quality. And then if you change one, obviously, like, your documentation is all handcrafted, apparently. So half of it is out of date, and it's up to me to figure out which half. Oh, man. It's... Every stream is turning into Sven rambles about bad documentation. Anywho, so if I go to here, and then I go log in, it doesn't do anything, right? So now I actually have to tell it what to do, right? I don't think it's doing anything on its own. So no, that's the wrong one. So we're doing the React Native. No, we're doing the Node.js SDK. Elsewhere, new or new. All right, register. So we have the client, and then we'll set up this, right? So we'll do something like, we'll do const init routes equals async app ops, boom, boom. That's the third init function here. Init routes. Right. But so we'll have something like app dot get slash request response next. And then we'll just do console.log request. We'll just do something like get request.url, and then we'll do response.send. Okay. So if I do this, right, and I have this open, and I'll go to this, and I'll go to the home page. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. I need to restart that. I'll do that. Get. All right. Okay. Right. URL. Boop. Boop. Actually, we'll just do the same thing. Now that's actually going to be mildly interesting for me, because, yeah, and I'm going to do nodemon this now. I don't have to manually restart this over and over. Don't know why that's still being output here. All right, so now we're going to look at their thingamajig regarding something like that. Okay. And the client, where do I stick it? Do I stick it on the app? App dot auth client. Actually, let's see. Well, we'll keep it there for a sec. But can we now do something like this? We'll do app.login. Right. Request response next. And then we'll just redirect to that. And I'm tempted to add like a couple of standard things, right? Like post login or whatever. Just so we know it happened, right? So we can say something like post login. Right? And then here we can say post login. Right? And here we can maybe do something like BR href Something like that. Right, so if I go here, and I go, log in. Okay. It'll take us here. I click on that. I log in. Is it going to take us back to where we're expecting to go? Login, redirect URI. In the callback, yeah. In the site URI. I'm tempted to... Well, no, because these need to be specified. All right, so... Kinda underscore callback. Kinda underscore callback. Site URI. So if I change this to triple threes all over here, right? And then the callback, login, redirect. You'll have to create routes for login and register. Additionally, you should implement the login register method in the middleware. Okay. Manage redirects. Okay. Manage it. You also need a root callback. Except it'll be kin to callback, right? So we can do login. We'll do kin to callback. Right? And the underscore looks a little ugly. I think I'm going to put a dash in here instead. We'll do in the callback. Post callback. And then we'll do callback here. Okay, so this is probably what the express thing does. So yeah, I'm happy to just strip that extra layer away. Then here we'll do post callback. And we'll do, so we'll just start doing this a little bit here. And then, routes. Const, render pages. Render generic page. Request, response, next. And we'll basically do kind of this. And we'll just have a bunch of links here. Just to help us test stuff, right? We'll have a login link. In fact, what we're going to do is do one of these, and we're going to have a little array of slash login slash register slash logout map. And then we'll just do something like that. Dot join, like that. And then this will just gonna be something like this. A href equals to /a. And then we'll just, okay, this song is depressing me. Can we skip past that one, please? Next. Boom. It's a variant of that song. Okay. All right, that's a different one. Excellent. Okay. Put that in here. And in here. And do that. And do that. And then we can do this. We have the redirects here. And then we can do render generic page, request, response, next. Boom. And then we can just do that on each of these. Okay. So if we're doing that, we're refreshing Going back to the home page. We're refreshing that. I think we want to be here for now. So then we can press login. Invalid callback URL. Your application developer, please register. Okay, so on the Kinder side, I probably need to rename that. So I'm not still logged in. Okay, that's sucky. Which account did I sign in with? I don't remember. No, not that one. Okay, I signed in with Suncodes. All right. Ultimately, I'll probably sign in with SudokuPad. Billing. Wait, here we'll bring the money to you. We're currently developing a whole new area of Kinder, a place where you can build plans, manage subscriptions, set pricing options, integrate right early. No. Coming soon. What do you mean billing is coming soon? What? Doesn't make any sense. Alright, can I change the callback URL? Kinder_callback 3000. Ah, okay, there's more than one. Alright. We'll definitely want to do 3000 and 3000, whatever. Logout redirect URLs. What's the logout redirect? Logged out. We'll have this, and logged out. Logged out. Alright, so if I do this, now I go back to here, refresh that. I'll sign in. And res is not defined. Response. Failed to try. It tries to violate state. What? Okay. Let's do this. Express error handler. Do I just do on error? Default error handler to run the up in production mode. Express comes with a built-in error handler that takes care of any errors that you might encounter. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, we don't want that. We do not want that. How do I change that? Writing error handlers. How do I replace the default error handler? Use log errors. Client error handler. Responses from within a middleware function. Client error handler. See, it's like, oh, yeah. Guess what this will be? We won't tell you. Oh, well, technically we do tell you. All right. All right. Roots. Boom. If I say const handle error request response next. Now do something like this. If response header set next error. Right, I don't like that, but here we are. Error. You see, if you weren't so lazy and you wrote it out here, then you'd actually save yourself time. That's the funniest stuff. And then they make a 3-line statement like that. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's misplaced laziness. Laziness needs to be efficient. You can't just have inefficient laziness. It's not helpful. It's just not helpful. Something broke. Writing error handles. Define error and middleware lost after your other app use. And that's kind of the order of things is annoying because it means you cannot pre-initialize basic stuff, right? So basically the error handler has to go in at the end of this. So this is just the last handle error. Like that. If I do this, like that. And then we'll go back to here. Go back. No. What? That's not what I typed in at all. Go to login, and we log in again. I wish there was a fast dummy login, so it's not just over and over and over authenticating, like holy moly. Post callback. Okay, so this is exactly what I was hoping for. So we're now in post callback. Okay. And now we're at the point where we should be able to check if we're if we signed in or not. I'm gonna leave that all the way down here somewhere. So after we've logged in, okay, so we've done login, we've done register, we've done callback. We want to do a logout. Let's put it in there. Don't really care too much about it right now, but yeah, sure, whatever. Right? We can do a logout. Logout. I mean, once you've done login and all the other stuff, you can probably do a logout. I'll trust them. Post logout. We'll do that. Post. And in fact, we'll just do this. Console.log get request URL. So we don't have to do that here. Sweet. And then we can literally just stick that in here. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful. And then we'll say post logout. And that does the logout. Check if user is authenticated. So now the question is, does this do just the session check? Ooh, where am I? I got moved around for some reason. Boolean true or false. So I don't know if this does the full-on session refresh check, right? You know what? Let's do a let's put this here for a sec. I'm actually gonna put a root handler. So handle generic page, right? Not an error handler, so we don't need the 3. And then we'll do return like that. Like that. But we'll put that there. And then instead of render generic, we'll do handle generic page here. Keep the rendering a chaperette. And then we can do this. Whoops, nope. We can do that. And we'll do that. Now, what I still don't understand is which part of this does it actually use, right? Handle generic page. Now, if I say render generic page like that, handle render generic page. Oh, okay. There we go. Actually, if I'm going to do that, might as well just do this, right? If I do this, cannot get. If I do this, empty response is authenticated. Oh, wait. Ah, okay. And we'll do Kinder client doesn't exist here. So can I pass that into request? Is requests, does Kinder client sit on the request somewhere? Or do I have to do that myself? Or on the response? Because that's what they did for the express handler. Method status client. Client. Client? How would I even determine if this is the Kinder thing? No, I don't think so. Probably either auth or Kinder. If I do object.keys, right? So if I do a route handler here, so can I do that inside the initKinde thing? So if I say app.use, and then I'll just have these, right? And if I do something like express middleware attach to response to request object. Yeah, I could. Express was designed to support this in the response object, not the request. The response object supports custom variables, rest.locals. Okay. Yeah. Expect the rest request prototype. Request prototype to foo. Request.protocol equals. You can add a custom set property for each request. Yeah. So we're gonna do that. And we'll just do const middleware inject in there. And it's gonna be something like that. And I don't know if these can be async. I think so. Right. Middleware inject in there. Or shall I just call it Kinde client middleware? Sounds man, I'm always stuck on that. Putting like going from larger to smaller in the hierarchy versus the sort of English ordering, which is the reverse. So then we can just say request.kinde client equals kinde client. Next. Right? So then if I say request.kinde, well, let's just do that, right? So if I do this and just refresh this page, there should now be a kinde, whatever the hell I spelled there. Kinde client. Yeah. Now, doing this, these aren't really middleware, are they? They're doing redirects, right? They're actual responses and routes. We'll figure it out. But now we can do something like const kinde client equals, is it request or response? It's on the request. Not sure where it should be. Where is it on the other one? On the first one, right? Here, if I do a handle admin, I can do render admin, and it'll use what? Request.use. It's on the request. So let's stick with that for now. And then technically the is authenticated, we can just execute that as well. Is authenticated is false. So we basically could just run this each time, except we might not want to. All right, let's log in again. See what happens. But I'm much happier with this kind of without having to deal with the express stuff. Is authenticated is true. Now if I refresh that, is authenticated is true. If I go to the home page, is authenticated is true. Now, if I log out, is authenticated is false. If I go back to here, it is false. If I log in again, welcome back. Now, it doesn't do the automatic re-sign in without going through the form again that it did prior. But we'll see about cleaning that up. Okay. All right, so we're back to kind of how do we handle it without access to the response and request objects. Like we don't know, I still don't know this middleware function, what part of this is it handles, right? And I'm guessing we're just gonna have to do this purely by session storage, right? Sorry, no, by cookies. In the session ID, right? So if I have this, right, let's try that. So we open an incognito window, go to this page, right? Authenticated is false. Yeah. Copy. Paste. No. Double click. Paste. Double click. Paste. Now if I refresh, now we authenticate. Okay. So this is all we care about. So it's just a basic cookie-based session. Okay. And as far as I know, we're not including any session middleware here. So this should be much easier to manage as a microservice, right? We'll still have to manage the redirects and all that stuff. Because the point is, I'd like to like build a microservice, like a development microservice that's just has flags. Like we have a list of signed in, signed out, and I just check them. Hey, this guy's signed in, this is signed out, you know. And then for testing, they're always signed in or they're always signed out, and I don't have to go through the actual sign-in process, right? And then we can start building, you know, what I started putting on here, the MVP and so on. Because now the interesting thing becomes to go on the domains, access to the local storage data, and kind of, hey, you know, we're going to import your stuff, right? And then the other interesting part is to connect to the Mongo database, right? In fact, did I already import that? No. So let's bring that in as well, because we're gonna just use the same database that we've been starting to use with the puzzle database, right? So we want to install MongoDB. So if I install MongoDB here, and I think once I have this sort of prototype up and running, I'll probably start on a brand new repo. So we'll get that. And now if we include these little bitties here, something like that, right? And ooh, Mongo client. Mongo client. So if we now do something like this, init routes, init express, init kinde, const init MongoDB. Right? So if we do ops URI DB client, and if we do the same thing with the middleware, I think I'm gonna do that. No. I've been trying to homogenize that, but yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think, is there a way of making this simpler? But it would really be more complex. If I say something like const attach middleware, right? And this is gonna take a name val. Now the problem is here the value is gonna be closured, but I think that's fine. I don't think, yeah, this doesn't need to be async, right? So we can do this and that. Then we can just do something like this. Can declined, right? And then I can do the same thing with this. Declined. And then if we look into here, we can do something like test plausible API. No, we can do something like this. Init routes app.get should test db. And this will be something like, we'll just throw it in here quickly. That. No, never mind. We're just going to do it properly-ish. Handle test db. Handle test db. Const handle test db. Think that. And I think we're gonna put that here. Then we'll do handle test to be here. And then we'll do something like that. DB client. Or shall we just call it DB? Yeah. We'll just do that. Right? We'll do something like that. And then we'll just do a select yada yada yada. I mean, we could do this, I guess. So let cursor API puzzles. And then we'll just say basically whatever I usually do to count. Something like that. Count. And then we'll just do that and that. That's it. And then we'll do a render generic page afterwards. I think that's all we gotta do. And then here we can do test db. Boom. And it breaks. All right, that's good to know. Good to know. Handle test db is not defined. Handle test db. Is it spelled right? Handle test db. It looks the same. Nope, it's misspelled. And that's why some people use TypeScript. Easy mode, isn't it? Right, let's do something like diff slash diff. Then we'll do a diff slash diff here. And then we'll do another one further down. Like that. This will be test db, like for miscellaneous stuff. Hey, it almost looks like JSX, right? I can totally see why somebody builds JSX though. Boom. And this part is this. We can get rid of that. And then here we could say, do we wanna handle this? the authenticated status. I don't know how expensive this is right now. I think internally this might be not crazy. Can declined. Find is authenticated. This is some bullshit translated from something else, right? Okay. Async to generator is authenticated. Async to generator. Jesus Christ. Switch pref was next. Session ID, get session ID, use session store, get data, blah blah blah. Get refresh token. Case 0, 5, return true, return false. Case 6. While 1. Ref equals context next. Switch. Ref x 5. Get refresh token. Is there's probably like a dist. This is just distribution. This is not the actual source. All right. Get refresh token. All I want to know is, is this making remote requests? Is this hitting the Google API every time I press a button, right? Or the Kindi API or whatever. Session store, auth.get token, refresh token, session store remove data, authentication convert token, access token, save token, constant prop return, can get token, users not authenticated. Get token, auth. Where does auth come from? Refresh token, new refresh token default. Refresh token, OAuth 2. Okay, I'm not entirely certain. Which is annoying. But this gets us what now? This authenticated is false. Boom. Test DB. Handle test DB. I have to handle that above the default one. Underneath that one. Above that one. Otherwise, I don't get the custom handler. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So, app crash, waiting for file change. Cannot read properties of undefined reading collection. Okay, so did we even initialize? No, we did not call init MongoDB. That's why things aren't being inited. We'll do that. App and ops.MongoDB. Actually, I think I'm going to call this config. Except .env. I don't actually want to call this config. It's like it's too valuable something to pollute the global namespace with. Make any sense? What does it not like about that unexpected token? Import destructuring rename. Can we not Why can't we rename something in an import statement? But I got the following error. Named imports do not destructure. Use another statement for destruction after the import. Don't destructure. The import statement in JavaScript does not natively support destruction syntax, but you can rename the objects in the following way. Oh god. Yeah, let's have something that looks identical, works identically, except doesn't. And then have a different syntax to the same thing. Sure. Sure. That's totally great. db.collection. Waiting file change before starting. db.collection is not a function. Yeah, it is. Should be. So explore puzzles has db. db is client. Okay. My bad. My bad. So we'll have MongoDB. We'll have db client. And then we'll have const db equals db client.db. Oops, db client.db. And then we'll have that. And we'll probably need to put that in there as well, just for future reference. And here we go. We have 82,000 rows. We have a database. And if I go here, we're not authenticated. Okay. And then we can do render. Go here. Render generic page. What do I want to do? Render generic page. I think next we don't need here. We'll just say content. Then we'll say if content do right, else don't. Right? Content. Right? And then I can say something like we'll just say let. And here we'll just say that. And that. There we go. JSON.stringify. Great. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. And then up here, we can do something similar with this. Like that. Sweet. All right. What time is it? It's almost noon. I think I'm gonna call it quits here for today. I know I didn't really do anything particularly new, but last time I kind of just made it work at all. Now I'm kind of going back and like making sure I understand what's happening, and I'm kind of in charge and I'm in control of how it operates, which before I was not. Before I was just like getting bounced around. And I know this looks primitive, but it's kind of the basic flow. Now, I need to go back to splitting this out from the actual server. So the database stuff doesn't happen in here, but it happens in server.js, right? In here. But I even just the organization of this file is already much cleaner than this one. So in fact, maybe that's something we can do today now as well, kind of clean this up. And I think I want to get rid of the dependency on the proxy stuff, if I can. And hopefully we don't need that. So actually, I'm gonna start over on server. Leave this alone for a sec. So we'll save that as server2. Because I'm not versioned with Git yet, so I don't wanna run the risk of like overwriting something and then kind of forgetting how stuff was meant to work. Store goes down here, server2 goes up here, and I'm gonna model it more on the structure of this. So, but we're not gonna include that. We're gonna include these, and then we're gonna have the setup stuff from down here, minus the auth stuff, right? And in MongoDB roots, right? So then we're gonna move. Actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna copy everything over, and then we're gonna remove the auth stuff. Error, handle generic. We're gonna remove this stuff for now. Right. And I think we're fine so far. So if I do npm run or even node mon src/server2, right? And then I'll switch this to I'll switch this to 3000, which of course means all the redirects and stuff are going to be wrong. But that's fine. We can go here. If I press login, this doesn't work. Right. Do we even... I'm trying to think. Do we... Yeah. So we do kind of want to do some sort of proxying, except maybe we don't need to. Right. So we'll do something like this. Handle login. We'll just do them one at a time, but later on I'm hoping to be able to replace them with a bunch of, like with a generic pass-through function for all the auth stuff. If I do this, and I'll do a fetch, and we'll probably need to include node fetch here. Do we have that installed? No. Node.js fetch. Is it still not native? It's got to be native by now, right? It's got to be native by now. Please tell me it's native. Fetch. Experimental. Global. Use legacy. Use global this instead. Oh my god. Oh. Stability 1. Experimental disable this API with no experimental fetch. Implementation of the fetch function. Let's risk it. Let's risk it. Risk it for the biscuit. So, we want to get localhost 303/login. And then we want to look at res. Fetch. Unexpected identifier fetch. Node.js. Unexpected fetch. So do I still need to include that? Didn't they just say it was native? Node.js. Native fetch. Unexpected identifier fetch. Do I still need to install Node Fetch? Working on a Lambda, blah blah blah, 1 year ago. URL fetch, URL, yada yada, fetch URL. Fetch. I created some Lambda function using Node 18, using fetch without a problem. Node.js fetch. Is it native or is it not native? If I go to version 20, right? Find fetch. How do I use it? Fetch function. Except it doesn't work. Node JS no native fetch. Why is the agent option available in Node native? There isn't a native fetch because it says fetch unexpected identifier fetch. Oh, wait, maybe, wait, unexpected identifier, that's different. Async, await. Okay. I knee-jerked when I should have double-checked. Alright. SSL routines, wrong version number. Nothing here is SSL. Except this. If I do this, and then I'll do whatever I was doing here to just output response, handle generic page, render generic page. If I do this, right? Okay, so we get a response, and that response is what exactly? Because we didn't pass through any cookies. It is using Unity internally, okay. Now I remember. Date is 200. Header list. Symbols, maps. Now if I pass the cookie through, okay, let's see. If I go to the actual page here directly, it'll do a redirect, right? Yeah, it'll do a redirect. Now, if I clear the filters, right, and I do document.location equals 3003 login, what will happen here? So we get immediately the 302 redirect. So is that because of the missing cookie? Let us find out. So if I say an object with headers, and I'll say cookie, and I'll just pass a string through, what happens? What happens? Content is not defined. Because, yeah, there's no. Boom. Fetch failed. Econ refused. Why? This crash as well? That's restarted, and that's restarted. What the hell? Restart. Okay. Response object. Response headers. Status text is okay. Status is 200. We're looking for a redirect though. Alright, so let's say status. Status? What? Status. Alright, and res.headers. Now, we've done some cookie shenanigans last time, so it behooves us to double check. Can I find folders, cookie, le cookie, request.headers.cookie. So we kind of want to look at the incoming cookies as well. Right. If I do this, and then refresh that, we have in the session ID. So we do have a cookie here. So if I pass the cookie through, and I think I can keep that lowercase, do something like that. There was something else we needed to do actually, especially when we proxied, right? So let us have a quick look at what we did with the proxying here. Request headers, redirect manual. Redirect manual, otherwise we'll never see it, I think. If I do this, 302, and then we'll have location. Okay. And then we'll have headers dot location. Like, no. How the hell is one key press erasing the entire file? That just seems harsh. What do we get? Headers dot location isn't a thing. But if I do headers dot get location. Okay. And we want the set cookie, the chat cookie. So headers dot location and headers dot location set cookie. Oops. Like that. And now, what do we get? We get a set cookie, and we get a location. And now we should be able to send that back. So if we do express, redirect, set headers. And I believe even that I've done already, I think. Like find, redirect, headers. Yeah, I've done that right here. So, we kind of do this. Set cookie. I guess we already extracted that here. Yeah. Okay, so kind of we did that here. So we can do that. All right. This is stuff we've figured out already, and that was already working. Except now we're doing it with a kind of a level closer to the metal. We don't have to worry as much about things getting sidetracked. Okay. And then we basically have to do it for all the other places as well. So choose my account, I get signed in, and now I go to post callback. Except now I want to go back to wherever we were earlier, right? So we want to go to 3000. So we'll change everything back to 3000 now. We'll still use Kinder callback and logged out. All right. And then here we're gonna have to handle those. So we'll handle login. We'll handle and I think I'm gonna, yeah, we'll just do auth call back. Or let's handle in the handle author. I might have to rename that. Let me think. Do I want to rename that? Do I need to micromanage these? Hopefully not. Because if I want to switch to different ones, I'm not planning to use them in parallel, right? Although it would be nice if I could. We'll see. We might have to do a little bit of customization here. But I think for now we're gonna call this just auth callback. And then here we can add auth callback as an allowed URL. I'm just updating the server-side configuration. Save. If I do this, right, and then I have auth callback, handle auth callback, and we'll do this. We'll do handle auth callback, handle auth call. Holy moly! Handle auth callback, handle auth callback. And the problem is that the configuration will say 3003, and then when we get to here, the configuration will say something else. Although here we probably don't care. So if I change this to handle auth callback like that. Right. Let us do this for a sec. And now, if we go back to 3000, we log in. Before we do that, do I need to restart these? No, I don't think so. We log in, go here, and I wish there was a dummy method. Okay. Auth callback. So it gets us that. So we've got the cookie. Get the cookie. Let me think. Why do I have multiple of these here? So handle login. Done. Redirect URL. Fine. Handle auth callback. Where we now need to kind of look at this code. And that's params code, right? Express query string params. Do I need to parse these manually? This doesn't really help me with query string. We should be able to do that here. Request.query .code. Yeah, and that's the annoying thing. Now I have to run through the whole process again just to add this one item, right? Except, is it just code or is there more to it? Redirect URL. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. It doesn't actually show me here, right? So I'll probably want to do request.url here, and we'll probably want to start indenting these so I don't have this messy problem here where I don't see where one thing starts and the other thing ends. I think the headers we don't really care about for now. Right. I'll do that here. That, but no headers. Like that, and like that. And now, at the end of that, we want to basically go back to here. We'll put the code back in here. Like that. Question mark code equals. We'll probably do encode URI component here, because I'm assuming this automatically decodes it, and there might be a problem if I don't re-encode it. Just create a code, and that's not login. That's now auth fallback. And this stuff, yeah, we should be able to automate that more or less. You know, snoop on the configuration, all that stuff. App crashed. Why? App crashed. Why? Because it tries to validate state. Frick. Alright, if I go here, I go log in. I log in with Google. I press the buttons. I do the thing. It sends me back here. And what do we got? We have a bunch of stuff here. Redirect URL, we did that. Handle auth callback, okay. The callback URL is something like this. Request URL, query code is that. I think there's more. There's more to it, okay. Jip. Express get raw query string. Unparsed query string. Parse, restored, parse, original you can use in Express. Older versions can use. So I can use original URL. Request dot original URL. Okay. And query string, I don't know what kind of object that is. But working arrays and objects, plus query string, second option is secure. If I do something like query string, import query string from query string. Do I need to? Yeah. Okay. Oh. Can you stop requesting things, please? Stop it. Stop it. This should be able to crash if I'm not running anything. So we should be able to also try that while we're here. We should be able to do query string, .stringify. Request.query. So is this page just reloading when I'm not asking it to? Is it just randomly refreshing here? What the hell? Stop it. Why is it doing it again? Stop it. I'm not asking you to load anything. This is bizarre. Don't do that. Okay. So, log in, press the thing. All right, this one won't work, but it should tell us if we can use the query string and or the original URL thing. So query string is here, and original URL is requested. Original URL is here. We could pass this through as well. Probably safe. So if we do this, we'll put that right there. Now, we'll just do it all again. Unless it immediately crashes. Why? Why would that crash? Fetch failed. So just the fetch itself does the whole failaroonie. So we can really just do a catch error, next error, like that. And we can just put that right at the top and then put everything inside. And why this isn't automatic, why I have to do that, I don't understand. Like, that should be outside of this function. Fetch failed. Thank you. Now, the fetch fails, why? So the same problem over here. Okay. I guess we can do the same thing over here. And we don't need to copy that. And I can write that amount of code. Authentication failed because it tries to validate state. So where does this happen, really? View.js. I'm not using views or anything like that, so... No default view was specified. What exactly is it? Where exactly is it crashing? I don't even know. Alright, let's do a couple of things here. So let's put handlers in here. So we'll do handle login. Log handle login. Right? And then the login handler. But it's still this, right? It's still this anyway. In other words, I just need the middleware. The middleware is separate from router. Kind of makes sense, but also kind of doesn't make sense, especially in this case where you have one middleware for one route. That should be the route, you know. The route is almost just the output. It feels a little meh. But anyway, this is cleaner. We'll do the same thing, handle login, handle auth callback. We'll do that. Then we can put that here. And then we'll do finally handle logout. Just as a minimum, we get nothing. We get nothing. It blows before it gets to the root handler. Well, that's something, I guess. Authentication failed because it tries to validate state. Validating access. Unfortunately, Kinder doesn't seem to be used enough that I can Google any of their stuff. Because nobody cares. Nobody's ever used it, apparently. Failed because it fails. Tries to validate. And it doesn't even get, it crashes the server. It doesn't get to the root handler or the error or the generic error handler, which is not good. This is, you can't do that in an authentication core system. Like, are you kidding me? So apparently it's happening in here in line 284. Authentication failed because it tries validate state. What does that even mean? Case 8. Kinder auth state. It tries. Turn. If not, get bus. Like, should it, is that something it shouldn't, what is it? Should it not be doing that? So that happens, that's an error in the middleware. And that completely crashes out. Did I not have a generic handle all errors error handler set up here? Handle express, handle init routes, handle error. Oh, because... Yeah, we can't do that here, unfortunately. So app use handle error, it's not a route. That needs to go all the way up here before everything else. And I think we have the same problem here. Yeah, that's one thing I don't like about the route handling, that you cannot affect their order after the fact. It should be a malleable object. All right. So now we're getting an error message here, and the whole thing doesn't just blow up completely. All right. If I go back to whatever, can I just do 3000 login? So now the server at least doesn't crash. Right? And then we can just log in here. Log in here. And we get to here. And what did that do? Okay. So it did the handle auth callback. And here it comes back with a post callback. Okay. And now we should be signed in. This guy should be signed in over there. Yeah, okay. I get that. So that's kind of working. We just have to kind of clean it up now and tidy it up. I still feel like we've pulled a lot of stuff over here, but this is super generic. Like, if I do the post callback thing, and it's just going to be a redirect, I guess I can just do the same thing that I did here. So I can actually, if I do that here, I don't actually need any of that. Yeah, I think I can actually genericify that. If I do handle auth route, in fact, let me rename that to handle auth route. And I'll just do this. Right. And cookie. And then we'll do output the status. And we'll just do that. And I think that's it. We don't actually care what the route is. We're just saying, hey, that gets forwarded. Boom. So instead of handling auth callback separately, we can now just say handle auth route, login, auth callback, log out, and register. Unexpected end of input. Handle auth route. Handle auth route. That. If I now do this and I click login, we get to here and I log in. It gets us to here. And then we'll do that. And now we're here. And here, no errors. And if I say log out, we get to logged out because it does the redirect. Okay, so that's all sorted. Got our database. Go back to here. And then the only thing is, we basically need an isAuthenticated call, right? So here, how do we want to do that? We could do it two ways. We could make it a fully wrapped API call, and we pass in the session whatever, right? But then the problem is, I need to figure out where exactly it takes the cookie from. So if I look at the client here, if I look at isAuthenticated, right? Here, it will at some point look at the request, get the session ID out of the request somehow, via whatever the frick this is, right? Get session ID, utils, get session ID. Okay, utils, get session ID, utils, SDK, utils, SDK, utils, yada, yada, yada. SDK, utils, utils, get session ID. Boom. Request. Request headers, no. Request headers, cookie, session ID, run by. So request, it only looks at request headers. Headers dot cookie. Request headers not equal to void 0. Jesus Christ, alright. Request get cookie. Request headers dot cookie. So if I pass in that, I can potentially basically what I'm trying to say is, can I run isAuthenticated without a request object, right? So, all right, let's try that. Let's try it out. So, let's add a route. Let's add a route. Let's add a route. Route. I don't know. isAuthenticated. isAuthenticated. We'll just do this. Then we'll do isAuthenticated. And then here, we'll do something like that. Oh, something like that. Right. And then the whole isAuthenticated call. Right. We'll do something like that. And then here we'll do request.query.session ID. Something like that. And then we'll do, instead of request, it'll be request with a headers object. I mean, I could just pass the cookie through, I suppose. But I'd like to split it, right? Do we need... We just looked into it, right? It is doing some sort of cookie splitty stuffy stuff. Do we care about this? Do we need to support that? Get cookies. Get cookies. Dot returns if headers dot cookie session ID default and wait, what? If not, if we don't have a cookie, it generates one. Okay. If cookie does exist, get cookie splits it up, and it does a search for string for each cookie name, cookies.name.value, return cookies, and all it cares about is the cookie in the session ID. Because it's, yeah, okay, so because if I look at it here, it looks weird. We not have a session here. What about this one? Location, cookies, refresh, login. Now, if I go back in the session ID and I see it raw, show request for this cookie header options, and I just say network. Go here, headers, cookie, response, headers, request, response, set cookie. So that's our cookie data, something like that. It splits things up by those. Cookie string, cookie, or each. Each of those are an individual cookie, or it just doesn't care about any of the rest. Cookie trim split, blah blah blah. Cookie trim split equals trim split. Slice to array. Sliced to array. Fuck is all this? Cookie trim split 0 name value. To be honest, I think all I need is this bit here. But I'm tempted to just pass the whole cookie through. I mean, do I wanna mess with it or do I not want to mess with it? That's the question, right? If I can just pass the cookie through, then I might as well just pass the request through. But then that might make it harder to do other things, right? The other problem is they're handling sessions internally. I don't know what else is part of that session. All right. Let's have another thing here before we go. Let's see. So if I say it's authenticated here, right? So if I go to here, and I'll add that to our extra links here, is authenticated, and that should actually be part of the auth set here, right? Authenticated. No, not here. Here. That. We'll do this, right? Then we're going here. We're rendering the generic page as authenticated. Oh, because I need that over there as well. Yeah, okay. No, do I? Well, no, this is different actually. Let me think. I'm starting to think because I need to pee, and it's time for a break. But basically what I want to do, let me just write it down, right? I want to have on the server, I'll have a test page. What the server will do, it will make a request to is authenticated session ID equals ABC123, right? Then internally, this will turn it into something that looks like a cookie, just so we can reuse that mechanism, so I don't have to basically, So basically that I can go is authenticated, right? So I don't have to rebuild this function, even though it doesn't do a lot, right? I think it's doing exactly what we were doing kind of manually in the other version. I think over here, where we're looking at like how does it work inside Express. The problem is this is mangled through a build process, so I don't want to mess with that. So I'm gonna basically pretend this is a request response thing object, right? Even though that bothers me because this is supposed to be the Node.js SDK, and why does that care about a web server? Like, this shouldn't be tied into some sort of web server thing, right? This shouldn't be providing middleware, right? This is supposed to be not the Express library. If I wanted the express tie-in, I would be using the express tie-in, right? So I have a feeling they're kind of lying about their support, that they're just sort of cloning things over and kind of pretending. But anyway, the fact that they're only looking at the cookie means we can create a fake cookie that looks something like do so fake request, and it'll be basically a request object where they're passing the request object into here. It has a header object, so we'll have something like request. Something like that. Fake request object with headers inside. Headers will have a cookie, and the cookie will have a string. And the string will just be session ID equals whatever, right? It'll be kindy session ID equals ABC123, right? So I can pass this string over as a query string, as session ID, and then I can just build this, run that through this authenticated, and we should be fine. Now, the one problem I have is I don't know if it keeps updating the session ID. Like, for security, in theory, if they're tied into a web server, they can just change that cookie every request, right? So each request basically has a one-time token, more or less. But maybe they're not doing that. Otherwise, I'd have to pass it all through. Kevin 11. Hey Ferps, I have no idea who. I want to say who, because it sounds a bit like Kevin, but it's Kevin 11. And that it's almost a rhyme. And it sounds like something somebody might do in Minecraft. But anyway, you've just caught me at the end of the stream. I'm going to take a break. I need to go eat something. And I need to let this stuff stew a little bit in my head. We've been spending 3 sessions doing this low-level... 3 sessions? Maybe 3 sessions doing this low-level basic auth stuff. And I'm a bit annoyed with myself because I'm just a bit rusty on all the basic server interop stuff. Now, I used to be much faster on that. And it's a bit annoying. And it's a bit annoying that the systems have become so clunky, because I could probably build this stuff from scratch faster than sometimes to figure out how it's broken, and you know. And the problem is the way it's set up. Sometimes you can't even fix it when it's broken. So that's super annoying, and you have to kind of work around, and then you're like, why am I working around something that's like, you know, like these things. These are, you know, this is like one line of code if you don't do all this generic bullshit, you know. How much time have I tried to figure out, like, what this actually does, reverse engineering their code, you know? Because the documentation doesn't fucking say, right? And it doesn't deal with, like, super basic, primitive, universal use cases. Like, hey, give me a function that lets me authenticate a user. What is a user? Define that. Define that in your documentation. What is a user? You know, mention the word session ID somewhere, right? Write about it. Anyway, that's just an old man complaining, yelling at the clouds and all that stuff. In the meantime, I hope you have a good Thursday. Take care. Have a good rest of the week. Bye-bye. Thanks for hanging out.